Hey everyone, I'm here with Sudipta. He is in our growth program, which is our first tier, which gets people to about 1 million, 2 million a year in revenue. And so today we're just going to talk about, Sudipta, where you were when you started or before you started, where you got to so far in the program. You've been in the program for like 135 days. And what were some of the roadblocks along the way and how you overcame them, both mentally and mechanically? Does that sound good?
Absolutely, Apurva. It has been a wonderful experience in the program so far. Uh, when we joined the program, we were doing around 8K a month approximately. And the key question at that point of time was, is it going the right direction? Is it worth the amount of time and effort which is being put in, because payrolls have to be made every month. We have, and I've been in the program from Jan to where we are now at the end of April. We have clearly seen a shift in the revenue traction. So we are now looking at over 1 million ARR as the immediate mode. And if we just look at how we would do with our confirmed contracts, we are looking to a few millions, upwards of between 3 to 5 million is the number which we are looking at, even with the currently closed contract. There are a couple of things which I would say is very interesting as far as the program is concerned. One is there are small tweaks in the balance of things which you do. There's a framework which can be easily used, which helps focus on things like how do you go after the bigger value in a structured way? How do you track things as you go after with the focus on value? The other element is how do you ensure that there is more cash in hand? It's a big topic as far as startup founders are concerned. How do you manage the cash? And I think the framework allows you to focus on the cash and soon gets you into a zone where you start becoming more cash flow positive. When we do this, the other element which helps is because your worries around what to do next and how do you fund the next month's payroll starts going away. You start becoming more free in terms of your thoughts, your taking back of your own time. So personal development starts flowing. So wonderful. I think it is great as a program. It doesn't overburden you with things, rather frees up your time because of the structure and advice coming out of somebody who has seen this work with multiple founders. So I really be grateful for that support.
Definitely. Okay, so you're saying the first thing you did was change the contract size. Am I correct? In the contracts that you were going after. And that freed up a lot of cash inside your business. So now you're not worried about payroll and things are working. Was there any other systems you implemented?
There are a few things which, one is obviously the size of contracts. So getting focus on larger value contracts is the first element. The second is bringing focus on outbound as the immediate growth strategy. That's an amazing thought process, which requires tweaking with a proper structure, but that's wonderful. And finally, ensure that the cash comes in as quickly as possible out of those contracts. So shaping those contracts in a way, shaping the engagements in a way that everything becomes more cash flow positive oriented. That is, I think there is a big shift.
Okay, so do you feel like you went from like a startup where you're not really sure what the outcomes are to like a business where you're like, hey, this is running, I'm putting money in, money's coming out. That's amazing. Okay, so two of the hardest things,
I would say.
Yeah, which is big. Two of the hardest things for startup founders, especially younger ones, that I've noticed is they don't believe that they can increase prices, and they don't believe that doing outbound works. What was your thought process to kind of get over those two humps? Maybe you didn't have them, but if you had them, how did you kind of get over those beliefs?
I think yes, these are very normal thoughts when you start. That yes, the only way to probably get business is by lowering price, which is not the case. In fact, if you're solving a problem, and price in a lot of cases is the last parameter in the customer's mind. Actually, he wants the problem to be solved and is happy to pay as long as the problem is getting solved, because the outcome of the problem not being solved is even bigger at the customer's end. And the money he pays actually allows you to do the job correctly. So if you're too short in terms of your pricing, then you are then cutting short support systems which allows that delivery to happen.
Yes.
And that is a key shift in thought process as we go through this program, we'll realize. I think that's the key piece. The other element is talking of outbound, and especially if you are having to do this with a couple of people who haven't been exposed to this thought process before. Yes, outbound works. There are two things which outbound brings in: speed in terms of the element. You are in better control of qualifying your leads, so you're focused on that. And the other element which is also quite interesting in outbound is you will recognize pockets of growth which might not have originally come to your thought process. So you'll find out that a certain country is suddenly giving a lot more growth than what you have originally planned, looking at the overall projection. That you cannot do by just hypothetically. You'll have to do the outbound to reach out to that market, and you'll see that. And once that happens, then start focusing on those specific pockets to quickly grow to a point where you have more cash in
hand. Okay, so the strategy is you go out to the market with the message. Some people will resonate, double down on that, and that really takes you up to the next level. And so it's a function of doubling down on things versus trying things. Be why most people don't
work.
Yeah, that makes sense. I remember when you were joining, you were like, hey, we're doing it. We're sending, a couple hundred emails, and I was like, oh, we need to, if you're getting responses and getting calls, we gotta ramp this up. So it's amazing that you did it and like stuck to it. I know the first 15 to 30 days, it doesn't feel like things are moving, but you stuck to it and things are moving now.
Yeah, I think the key is to believe that it would work, and there's a method behind everything which is being done. So look at the numbers, look at the metrics, see the percentage conversion, and then push down on things which are working.
Yes. Okay, that's amazing. So what would you say to like a younger founder that's kind of struggling? Maybe they're doing like 5 to 20K a month, and they're like thinking what you thought a couple of months ago, where you're like, hey, is this worth it? Asking yourself that question. What kind of advice would you have?
One is obviously, first thing is believe that this would happen. The belief will bring you resilience and actions behind everything you do. The other element is there's a whole bunch of things to learn, especially from a program of this nature, or especially from other people who have done this before. I would put it on the last point, other people who have done this before. So a program of this nature gives you a structured way to leverage on that knowledge of other people who have done this before. And yeah, it definitely works. It definitely works. So for a startup, there are three broad parameters to grow. One is have a product or have an offer which customers want. The other is ensure enough distribution of that offer so that enough people know about it and like it, and you will also validate your understanding of whether that offer was right for the segment of people which you are going after. And third is ability to monetize that growth period. I think if you get a structure to do that, most startup founders have an idea of the product they want to go into the market with, but struggle with shaping that into an business relatable offer and distribute that offer to enough people. And I think that's something which would be good if you can put a structure around it and go after it.
Nice. Okay. So you're saying it's not that they're not smart. It's not that they're not hardworking. It's just there's a couple steps that they're missing that they haven't gone through.
Tweaking those small things. It's just that. It's just tweaking those small things around the offer. They probably were writing an email with an offer, but the language was not adequate. There are things which you need to look at. Are people opening things enough? Are people, once they open, are they reacting to it? And you do those small tweaks, and suddenly things start scaling.
Okay. So they're a couple small tweaks away from really turning this into something.
Yeah, absolutely.
You can raise money, hire the right team, build the company they want to build, but not that far away. They're just using it ineffective.
Those small tweaks, couple of months, and the early you believe that those small tweaks are possible is way easier.
Okay, so it's a belief thing.
It's a belief thing. It's a belief
one of the people that I've seen that's like both technical and also like really focuses on what you believe and what you don't believe in. Maybe it's called like metacognition, like analyzing your thoughts, thinking about your thoughts. Where did that come from for you? I'm curious. Was that something that you've always had?
I learned it over the way. A lot of things which happen to you as an individual is a reflection of your own internal thoughts than the external world. And the more you can manage that effectively, I want to use the word control because control is slightly restrictive, but if you can manage that, your own limiting thought process, then it's easier. Then you sense what is happening, just go up to it.
Oh, I love that. Manage it. It's just like you don't want to control stress, you want to manage stress. You don't want to control your thoughts. You want to manage your thoughts. So
everybody would. So one of the questions which comes out as a startup founder is, are you not afraid? Yes, you would be afraid, but the question is, would you allow that fear to sort of make you act irrationally? Or would you know that this is normal and just think rationally and take calculated risks and still go ahead?
Yes. I've seen that a lot, especially when people are tired.
Yeah.
They'll feel fear, right? Because that's just completely natural for the body to be dysregulated when you don't sleep well. And I remember the way I got out of it was I was like, I'm feeling so off. I'm feeling this fear. I'm not taking action. And then I don't know where this came from, but I had this epiphany moment where I realized, hey, if I was in the jungle and there's a lion in front of me and I'm feeling this fear, what happens? I die. But if I was in the jungle and there's a lion in front of me, there's no way I would just freeze. You know what I mean? So why am I freezing now? What do I have to do to get out of this danger zone, whether it's real or not? Move. I just got to move. I have to take the next step and get to the next destination, regardless of whatever's in front of me. And that's kind of what you're talking about. It's really cool.
Yeah.
Fear is there. Fear is normal. Fear is going to exist. Is it going to stop you? Who decides that?
It is normal. It's just how you sort of acknowledge that and then.
Yeah, and manage it.
Yeah,
Expect it to be there.
it's expected to be there. You are trying to grow. You're trying to get into space, and the whole point of growth is you're trying to do things which is beyond the average or beyond the normal. So you are expected to get into unknown, and the element of fearing the unknown is there. But manage that.
Nice. I love it. I love it. Is there any closing words you'd like to say to everybody watching?
I think it's great to have someone talk to who understands the space. So the other piece of the value which I derived out of a program of this nature is I got to speak to you on a regular basis. Founding a startup is a lonely process. You need someone whom you can talk to and who can relate to the journey you're going through. And that helps a lot. That clears up your mind a lot.
Yeah, that was a big reason why I started this, because not everybody can move to Silicon Valley and drop everything. And I was like, okay, how can I make sure people get that access to founders just being around on their phones, on their laptops, on their whatever, at their leisure? So I'm glad it's helping. I'm glad it's working.
Thanks for your